Healing Numbers 22 live numerology reading. In this hour, our group of readers will demonstrate that energy remains consistent regardless of the modalities used. Now, today we're minus 2 of our readers because they're out ill. So we'll pray for them and that they get better real soon. But let me introduce our readers that we have. Lorelei, who is our psychic medium. Dorothy, who is the astrologer. Adriana, who is a numerologist. And I also am an intuitive numerologist. So just a side note for everybody who's listening and watching. None of us get together. None of us know how this is going to, what part of the chart they're going to look at or what Lorelei has come up with. This is all new to us as we all sit together. So I think that's kind of fun because a lot of times it amazes us as just as much as it will amaze the sitter who's sitting there. So it's really important to me that I hold a safe and comfortable platform for everybody. We're all on our own journey, but we're all in it together. So please, no judgment on others. It's all about kindness and respect. I'm recording this. This will go on my website and my YouTube channel. So if that makes you uncomfortable, just turn off your cameras. And if you have any questions or insights while we're all talking, you can put it in the comment field. You can raise your hand and you can be part of the conversation. We would love that. So I want to welcome Joyce. Joyce, welcome.
Hello.
Joyce is from Maine. She has brought the questions of what is my next project that will help me make a meaningful contribution, and what do I need to shed during the next 5 years? Yeah, those are great questions. Thank you. Where Kraylin, it usually starts us out with a card. I've asked Adriana if she would pull a card for us this morning because she also reads cards. And you pull during the hour, Adriana?
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
wonderful.
pull them
Thank you.
I'll pull them as you know.
Yeah, as spirit moves you.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
I have oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I could give you just a touch of background for that first question, or is that not helpful?
Oh, that would be fine. Yeah, that would be wonderful, Joyce.
Okay. Well, usually in my life, I have my job, which is I work full time and I do love my work. And I have a large family and blah, 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 all that stuff. But I always have something in my life that I feel is bigger than me and that I devote my energy to because, just in terms of placing it in the world outside of my personal life is really important to me. And so many times that has been in political work. Many times it's been in, some different kind of creative, like I wrote this musical about the brain that has been traveling in junior high schools, and it's that kind of thing. But then after the last, I have gone through like a very traumatic fall, and it was, and I just was not really, I was struggling to find where to put that energy next. And I found myself gravitating to some places that I felt like are very important to me. And I would, but yet they were not like exciting my core sort of, it was sort of like, well, okay, and then, I have had a few ideas that I've sort of been leaning to, but it's very important for me to find this place in myself that I feel is outside of my, let's say,
comfort zone.
Daily, yeah. So that has really been, and I'm also not, I'm almost not comfortable if I'm not putting that energy somewhere. I feel I have a lot of gifts in my life. I have my health and, I'm still, pretty sharp, I feel, just, in terms of my mental abilities. And, and I just want that to go somewhere that I feel, is just moving the light forward, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
that was wonderful. Thank you.
So if that adds to the
Yes, it
concept.
does. It does. Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah. Adriana?
Okay. So the card that I pull, I think is actually relevant. Let's see. So this is from an herbiary, like the illustrated herbiary. And it's just a bunch of herbs and flowers and things that um, the author put together this compendium of just different symbolism and what the meanings of these herbs could mean. So it's similar to the tarot. It's just using herbs instead of traditional tarot symbolism. So the card that I pulled, I don't know if you all can see this.
yes.
So the title is called Tap Your Resources, and the herb is burdock.
Oh.
So
That's funny.
when I read, I'm going to read what the summary is for burdock. Um, so you know the birds that get matted into your dog's coat in autumn, the ones that prick your fingers and refuse to come untangled. That's burdock. She's a tireless companion, and yes, she sticks with you, cheering you on when you're running low on steam or self-esteem, or recovering from a lingering ailment. Burdock is a nurturer, building you up with gentle sweetness and asking nothing in return. Her taproot runs deep. Once she gets her sights on breaking up crusty soil or shifting old habits, she's persistently relentless. She's the friend of your childhood, the one you could always count on to have your back. Trust me, she says, all will be well. And the major takeaway from the card is when you find yourself feeling burnt out or not motivated or a little bit confused or lost about which direction to take. There's a lack of clarity. Burdock is reminding you, or if you remember Burdock, Burdock is reminding you to uh, tap in with that person or those people, that community of people that build you up and encourages you. And it's another word? Gives you insight and just allows you to see outside of yourself. Um, so that is the card that I started with today.
Yeah, that
Okay,
was
thank
good.
you.
That was good. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of asking you to trust, right? Trust in the people around you. Yeah. Yeah. Let's
But
start out with
also,
Laura. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say the card's also just saying like just to trust the people around you, but also to allow that space and energy to clear space within you for the new that you're trying to get at, or whatever it is that you feel is buried beneath and you're not really getting at it. Now that that space is opening up because you're trusting other people with this energy, you should also trust that you will move in that space now. So you're also using outside resources, but you're using your own willpower as well.
Okay.
Nice.
Thank you.
Let's start with Lorelei this morning.
Hi, Joyce.
Hi.
So normally how I start is I get a read on the name, like an intuitive name on or an intuitive hit on what your name means, or how it applies to you is maybe a better way. I had down that you're very appreciative of your home, not quite content lately, very youthful, open-minded, objective, relaxed, gentle, very empathic, um, very sensitive. And I mean sensitive in a way of picking up on everybody's stuff still. And very sharp and very clever. I also felt you might be a little bit competitive. And I don't know if competitive is quite the right word or if it's competitive with yourself, always trying to strive to be better. Does that make sense to you?
It does.
Yeah, okay. With regards to what is your next project that will help you make a meaningful contribution, the first thing I almost felt was that it would be good for you to do some traveling, traveling or getting out somewhere. Okay.
Okay.
And then the other thing that was interesting, no, and as far as travel goes, I found it rather interesting because I was seeing two kind of different places. I kept seeing Alaska. I'm not sure why I kept seeing Alaska, but I
Okay.
saw that over and over again. And I saw somewhere that was older. I apologize. My mouth is a little bit dry as I'm reading today.
I don't know.
And sometimes that happens when I'm actually channeling. The other thing that I saw a potential place is somewhere. It almost looked like ancient runes or sacred sites or something along that line, but somewhere older. And I couldn't quite see where it was. I could just see what was there. And it looked like it was like older places that you were going back into history and seeing some of what was there. That makes sense to you at all?
Well, it does. It's interesting. I have had this for probably a year or two. This sort of drive to walk part of the El Camino.
Yes, that's it. Yes. Yeah, that's
Ooh,
exactly
lovely.
because there was a path. I kept seeing a path with it, but I wasn't quite sure what the rest. Yes, that's it. Now, from that, and the other thing is, and I don't know why, I feel a Nordic spa may be helpful for you or enjoyable for you. Okay.
Did you say Nordic?
Yes, a Nordic spa. Where
Oh,
they go into the different pools where it's cold and hot, and they have a sauna there, and then they have different types of saunas. There's a few places I know up in Canada that have them, but yeah, it's almost like a reset. You go into the different waters and the body and the mind reset. So does that make sense?
can I share something with you about that?
Yeah, yeah.
I was just saying this to Sue earlier, but I have not had heat in my home for the last 6 weeks, which
Okay.
is a really long time to go. I mean, I had no idea really that, well, anyway, but it has really been kind of awful. But on my good days, I had also been watching on Netflix, like Living in the Blue Zone, which is sort of about, like, part of it is about that, like when you're in the shower, go from hot to cold, and just sort of that exact reset that you're talking about. And I, like, in my little office here, I had a space heater, but like leaving that space heater, my house was so cold, and I'd have to like gear myself up. Like, all right, yes, you have to pee and get some water, and I'd be like, oh, and I'm like wrapped in, everything I own. So,
Well, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
There were a couple of other things that came up. One was potentially writing a book or writing something. Okay, it's a writing of something that those thoughts may not just be helpful for you to put into whatever. It'll also help with other people. Now, as far as the other thing that might be helpful with people, I actually think you could use your cooking somehow or those skills with cooking to help others in the community, to help them make their home a safe place or for them to feel at home with themselves, like almost with nourishing foods or something with the kitchen space. I don't quite see the whole thing, but if you play around with that, it might be very helpful for other people to feel at home through potentially food or just the kitchen. And I don't quite know where else that was going, but I thought that might be helpful too. It felt like community based work, though. Like it felt like it would be really good for you to be involved in that. And that you would probably very much enjoy it. Unless it's something like literally going through a home and organizing or making it more aesthetically pleasing if funds are low or something for another person. That kind of idea. Or new people coming in. Yeah. Yeah. Now the other thing I got, what you asked you need to let go of, it was past wounds other people's thinking or beliefs or thoughts that maybe you're taking on as your own, and you're maybe almost thinking you need to do something, and that may not be what is actually going to feed your soul or your forward movement. The other thing I got was maybe do one of my teachers had taught me to do a day in a life and exercise where you write down absolutely everything you would like your perfect day to be. If you get up in the morning, say for instance, I get up, I do yoga, so I would put that in there. If I want to have a latte, I would put it in there. Just my perfect ideal day, the people that come in, how I'm feeling, all of that. And just kind of see where that leads you. Okay. I also got the inspiration, like after you do some downtime for yourself, and as it already came up, that inspiration will then surface. It's almost like suddenly locks will open up and you'll be inspired again. And there actually may be some companions or partners that you may want to connect with that are going to show up too. Okay.
Okay.
Does that help you at all?
Yes, it's very helpful. Thank you.
Okay.
Very
Right.
helpful.
You're welcome.
Would you like to add anything to that, Joyce?
No, that was very, very helpful, because I have been thinking about food actually. So so that is very helpful. And can I just back into the burdock situation for a moment?
Yeah.
Certainly.
It was so funny because I used to have a horse that would just get covered in burdocks, and like burdocks were like my enemy of life. You know, it was like no matter what. You know, it's one thing for me, for my little dog to get a burdock, but this one horse would just get covered in them, and I could just never stop it, and no matter how hard I tried. And so, like, burdocks were always like my enemy almost. So it's very interesting that now I should wrap that around and befriend some burdock. And so I like that shift. That just what we perceive as our enemy is really there to help us. Is how I'm twisting my brain around that. So so I'm definitely going to play with that. Thank you.
Nice, fun. I just would like to say that when you get to a certain age, we add the Lifepath and the expression number together to get what we call the maturity number. And this kind of directs us on what we're going to do as we age in life. And the number that you have is the 9, and it's made up of the 27-9. Now your life path is an 11-2. This is very intuitive energy. It's the channeler, really. You have so many ideas that are always coming forward. You're always connected. There's always things coming in. It's about groups of people till you love the people around you. Groups of people. I do know that you're a writer.
Yeah.
So Lorelei was key on that one. And that's your birthday, the 3, which is the writer. Okay. Yeah. It's a 21. 2 + 1 is 3 for us as numerology.
Okay.
So
okay.
Now your expression number is the 7, and that's very analytical. So you have so much intuitive thoughts coming forward, and they're very analytical. So sometimes I think that you don't trust what's coming through because you're overthinking it, right? All right. So I have a 2 and I have a 7, and the maturity number is made up of the 27-9. 9 is the humanitarian. It's the one who does selfless service for other people. It's all about public service. So when you did the play, which was amazing, she took it to many high schools for the kids to see. You wrote it, right? Yeah, you wrote it, directed it. That was perfect. I mean, that because 9 likes art. It likes museum. It likes old things. So when you talk about Nordic and all of that, that's part of that 9 energy. It's about the community. It's about the world, taking care of the world. So I really believe that you're the happiest when you're out being of service to other people.
Okay.
Yeah. And food is wonderful, right? Because that's love.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially these days. No, that is.
Would you take food to people, or would you have people to your home?
Well, the vision I had, and it was based on maybe a TED talk I heard or something, but it was I had been doing some outreach. We have a pretty large home. Well, everybody does now, a pretty large homeless community where we live, but I couldn't quite, so I was doing some work with that, but again, it just felt really important for me for whatever reason right now, like just not to be doing kind of like the same old thing, and so the idea that has really stuck with me was, and like I said, somebody else has already done this, but I could use that model, was they talked about food waste in all of your neighborhood restaurants and whatever. And this model was how creating a weekly meal where people could actually, where unhoused people could actually choose, like so many unhoused people just have to take what is given to them. But
Right.
if you gathered this food and almost like had it in a restaurant setting, like where people have choice,
Right.
just how important that is, just to bring some feeling of worth and self-esteem.
Community. It'd be a community.
Yes.
And that's important to you. That's
Yes,
what the 9 does. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Now,
I have been playing, or that idea does keep creeping back to me. I haven't acted on it yet, but it does fill me with excitement rather than my old stuff. Yes.
Right. Now you're going into a 3-year. I believe that a lot of things are going to happen for you this year, because this is a year that friends are around. This is socializing. This is getting out, having a good time. This is very comfortable energy for you. You love this. I think it will be the friends that are going to help you with the ideas that you want to set in motion. Okay. I think April, Dorothy, you can help me out with this one. I think April is going to be a very significant month for your ideas to come forward.
Okay.
And then July is going to start to go in. There's July, the new will come out, but there's a lot of thinking between April and July to get it in motion. But I really think that there's friends, it's people around you. It's that burdocks, right? It's the burdock that's going to pull this together, and by you listening and socializing and being with others, the idea is going to become more clearer to you of what you want to do.
Yeah.
What do you see, Dorothy?
Yeah, I do see some things like that. Now, I quickly wanted to ask Joyce. I mean, most people don't have an exact 9 a.m. time. Is that an estimate, or is that actually on your birth certificate?
Oh, I put down 9. Did I put 9 o'clock?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that actually it was 9:14.
Okay, because I just knew I wasn't getting, I couldn't sink in with this chart. I was like, this just isn't right.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It really matters. Yeah, that matters. So let me just take a second to edit this chart.
Adriana, you want to pull another card while Dorothy's getting it together?
You said 9:18, 9:15?
9:14.
14, thank you. Okay. Yeah, let me do that, because I just wasn't sinking in. Nothing felt right. I was trying to do it last night. I'm like, I just not getting. Usually you can just tap right in, and it was like, no, I don't think I have the right birth time. All right. I'll mute for a second while we have another card, and then I will get back to you.
Adriana?
So the next card that I've pulled, this is called Create Space, and the herb or flower is raspberry.
Oh.
So I will read the summary for raspberry. Raspberry is Rose's younger sister, sweet and wild, but also steady-handed. She loves the earth and its smallest creatures, so her ebullient, I've never seen that word, so ebullient, maybe, branches twist and crawl, creating nests for birds and sanctuaries for snails. She'll rock wee babes and scurry about with toddlers, rarely giving in to the gravitas that permeates most members of her family. Laughter floats through her leaves as she flexes and twists. You too can be like this, she says, demonstrating pliability earned by drinking deeply of mineral-rich soil. Sit with her and she'll share with you the secret of weaving space and creating strong containers for the emptiness that new life needs in order to thrive. When Raspberry appears, look to how you are or aren't nurturing yourself within. So, the major takeaway of this card is to obviously tend to your inner self, that inner voice, that childlike feeling that a lot of us we look back to as we get older, like, man, those were good days, but we don't try to implement that kind of same joy in our daily lives as we're growing in life. So some questions that Raspberry asks is there room for you in your mind and heart, or are your thoughts filled with the needs and schedules of others? Do you have guilt or other toxic thoughts popping up when you contemplate claiming space, mental, physical, or emotional, for yourself? And are you fearful of taking up too much space intellectually or physically? So I thought that was a relevant card. But I'll let Dorothy speak and then I'll loop back.
Nice. Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you,
All right.
Adriana.
Thank you.
All right, 2 minutes. That was quick. I can do this. So Joyce, yeah, I can see. You know, when I was listening to you as everybody was doing their beginning stuff, it's like you gotta have Sagittarius rising, which you didn't with the 9 a.m. chart. You do now. Sagittarius rising in a person is somebody who is a teacher. Whether you can officially have a title like that or not doesn't matter. You're a teacher. You're somebody who loves foreign culture, just foreign places. The sun is in Sag right now. Mars is in Sagittarius. Which means you have a lot of fire right now in the area of your astrology, which is the first house, meaning you feel like, you got to go do something. You're feeling not anxious, like I don't feel it's anxiety in that sense, but it's like, well, I should be doing something,
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't have to be, again, it's not the mental anxiety. It's just like, what can I do? What can I do? What can I do? Now, it'll be after solstice when the sun moves out, and it's going to be, let me get back to today. And it's going to be, I'm just looking at the astrology on the screen here. It's going to be a number of weeks before Mars gets out. Will be January. That means, and Mercury is going to be retrograde in that sector. Sue, you and I have to hook up for that.
Right.
Mercury is going to be retrograde in that sector soon. So all of this tells me is like right now and through, looks like it's going to go all the way through February with all the different planets moving through your first house. You are trying to redefine yourself. Now, the sun moves through there once a year, so does Mercury and Venus, so that's not uncommon, but Mars doesn't always move through there at the same time those other planets do, meaning lots of movement. The things that Lorelei said is like, and you've been thinking, I want to go hike the whatever you said.
Yeah.
Thank you. I was going to call it a horse, but I know people have done it. It is just an amazing experience for everybody who's done it. I could see you, even if you can't get to it between, the rest of this year into January, which is fine. It's winter. I don't know if you can hike it in the winter, but either way, you're feeling that. And that is, if you get that or don't go to do that right now, it's still drive to accomplish things. Because I know you are a Libra. Your sun sign is Libra. but
Right.
the ascendant is like, how our face to the forward, that, we don't get to see. It's like just going forward till you look in a mirror, but we don't get to see what we're doing. We're going outwardly, but the outward feel is all of those things: travel, teaching, sharing information. So I would say start planning some things to just to explore, to sort of find what is next, right? Because I know that was part of one of your bigger questions, is kind of like, what's next? And you know how to do what's next, because you haven't lived this long without knowing how to do what's next. But it's nice to have a clue. But and the astrology is moving us towards that. It's where the astrology gives us that insight to do those things. So that's part of what's going on. That's just a real short picture of just the next few months and what you're looking at. Now, a longer picture of what's been going on for you is the placement of Jupiter in your 5th house, and it's been in there. Let me grab it. April 2023, and it will remain in there till March of 2024 in the 5th house. And the 5th house represents, what am I passionate about? What is it? How do I want to live my life? It is a focus on children as well, and you have a strong sense of children in your life because your moon is Cancer. Planet Uranus is right there with the moon in Cancer. So you have a very strong epiphany to, even if you have your own children or don't, you are still very much a caring, nurturing person that people look to as mom, somebody who can be caring and nurturing. But this Jupiter moving through the 5th house speaks to that kind of stuff too. So what am I passionate about? What are my passionate projects? What do I have that's of value to me? Eclipses this year were in that area. So this is why you're like, I got to start changing something. We got to start moving towards something new. So I have more to say, but what is that? How does that resonate for you so far?
Yeah, no, that definitely does. Just those pieces, but especially the, that energy picking up and zooming off in a different direction. I do have 8 grandchildren who all seem to live like a stone's throw away.
Good.
So there are always a lot of children, in this house. So so that is always true. But no, that resonates a lot.
What are you drawn to as far as your passion? I mean, is it your grandchildren? Is that your passion, or is there something within you, something just for you? What is it?
The passion. I mean, I love my grandchildren and all of that, but I'm not somebody who feels that my life, even though they take up a lot of my life, it's not that my life revolves around them.
Okay.
I feel that our roles they enrich my life, immensely. And I hope I enrich theirs, but that's, but I'm not living for them.
No, that's fine. That's really
that's
important to say, because your moon in Cancer is that caring, nurturing person, but it's sitting right at the same place that Uranus was when you were born. And that means, but I still need my freedom from family. I still need my freedom from family. It doesn't mean you don't love them, of course.
Right.
But at least you don't. That isn't always the case with some people, honestly.
Right.
Sometimes when that combination comes together, there are some family members that we would rather not know. But we're talking about your grandchildren. So they're sweet and they are who they are. I have grandchildren too. I get it.
Yeah.
But what is your passion? I really want to come back to that. You have to define what your passion is. You've got Aries and Taurus in that area. Transit Jupiter's been moving through there since April of this year. And so it's just saying, I really need to, for my own well-being even, I want to move into what I'm passionate about. Like, I'm passionate about kayaking and getting outside and in nature, things like that.
Right.
What are you passionate about? How can you take that to a new step? Because Jupiter only comes through once every 12 years. So you're in an opportunity period to really start to engage and, branch off in your life path to do something that's just really fun and enjoyable and something you're very passionate about.
Okay. Well, I am passionate about travel. I am a passionate camper.
Nice.
We camp a lot. I've always had a passion for horses, and I've had several horses in my life, but right now I'm not riding.
Mhm.
And my granddaughter and I actually own a horse together. It was like a pandemic project. I don't know what I was thinking, but
None of us were thinking then.
well, I
We're like,
think I could-
sure, why
a
not?
puppy. All right, let's buy a thoroughbred off the track. Okay. But I am really much more the ground person for that horse. She's the rider. He's a little too hot for me. But I have, like, for a year been talking about riding again, and I just don't do it. I'm just like, oh, but I can tap back to just feelings about riding that I never experienced with anything else.
Yeah.
It's just, and there's something that really has blocked me from that. And I keep talking about getting over that block, but I just haven't yet.
Okay.
So, I don't even know exactly what the block is, but something is.
How
So-
long do you feel you've had this block? Has it been a few months, or has it been?
Oh
like
no, I'd say it's been 2 years.
Oh, it's been years. Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
I'd say
2 years is how long it takes Mars to come back around. So Mars is back around again. And it is right now like I said, right now in that first house. It just crossed that first house a couple days ago, once every 2 years. And so again, you have an opportunity here to start taking some steps forward. I know you don't have to go riding right now. Where do you live? I forget where you're at. What state?
I'm in Maine.
You are in Maine. Okay.
Yes.
I'm in New Hampshire. It's freaking cold, isn't it? It's like, how could you not have heat? Oh my God.
We
woman.
we just got our heat back last night. So otherwise I'd be sitting here like in 10 layers of
Holy cow.
I know.
All right.
I know.
So it is here. You have the capabilities. It might not be like perfectly in alignment with weather and cold weather and things like that, but the transit of Jupiter is present, and it is in that fifth house of what am I passionate about? How can I expand that passion, that creativity? And if it isn't horses, it can really be something crafty. If you just love to, make pine cone wreaths, I don't know, but anything that you can be very solid and grounded in and feel very, very connected to. And then once it's done, the next thing that it is
when does it get done, Dorothy?
When does it get done? I'm pulling that up right now. It gets done in March of 2024, right? And so now we get into April, right?
There we go.
And so for a year, let me look at that now. I had this quickly. It only takes a sec. Yeah. It moves into the health sector, the everyday, the area of the astrology, which is about our health, our everyday health and wellness, our, coworkers, if we have a job, or just the chores that you do every day. And that is in your sixth, that's Jupiter moving in there, and it will be in there for a number of months. I think not too many. Let me see. 3. Yeah, it'll be in there through June, April through June. And what that tells me is that it's a big opportunity for you to explore what your daily routine is like, your health and your wellness. And so you have a heads up. So that tells you don't have to wait till March and April to start getting healthier. You start doing it now. This is the very practical sides of astrology. You can do a lot of the other spiritual and the woo-woo stuff too, but this is the practical pieces of what the astrology is telling you. It's like, make sure your physical body, you're doing all the normal things. I'm not telling you to do anything out of your norm, but do the things if, like, I just think I want to start taking just a little extra vitamin C or whatever. Can't give you medical advice, but I could tell you, trust those hunches, trust those feelings in you. If you feel like you want to start doing those things, because Jupiter getting closer to your sixth house is telling you that. It's like, I really feel like I just really want to do my best every day to walk 30 minutes. I don't care what it is. You need to do something that you're not doing right now. You need to start doing it. And this will bring that to a head. And that's how I use that. And Sue, what were you saying about April again? I totally don't
There's
remember.
a lot of self-reflection going on. Very deep. You're really going in looking at the past, the present, and the future, and you're really trying to figure it out on a much deeper level. It can also bring in school. I don't know if there's a class or a spiritual retreat or something that you want to do for you. It's all about you and developing your higher self.
Yeah.
Could I just say something? Riffing off
Yes, go,
of you?
yes.
I'm hearing to go slow and savor to get to that depth. So I keep hearing it over and over again. It's almost like going slow will help you savor all the beauty, all the sacredness, etc.
Nice, nice.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Going slow is not easy for me.
No, you got Sagittarius on the horizon. That's like,
I'm always
let's
like
go,
a boom,
let's
boom,
go.
boom. Like,
Fire.
okay, let's
Yep.
go do it.
Lots of fire.
So that is good advice. Thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I appreciate also this self-reflection about health, and
There's something new coming in July. Do you see that, Dorothy?
I do.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
do. Saturn is Saturn to the progressed moon, Saturn at the bottom of the chart. And that's where the self-reflection comes in.
Right.
The other things I was talking about with Jupiter were more about expanding and doing more. The self-reflection comes in when Saturn is at the very bottom of the chart, which it is this year. It's in July, and it connects with progressed moon in July and August. And that is a lot of self-reflection about what it is that how you want home to be. If you're living in your home that you plan on staying there, let's just say the rest of your life, is that a place that you're anchored there now? Yeah. So you're going to be, this is July 2024, and it moves into 2025 and 2026. And that's where you really settle in. I mean, even if you've been there 20 years, I don't know how long you've been there, but you're feeling that you're prepping and preparing and making sure everything is exactly the way you want it, and you need it to be physically at home. And then that position as well in astrology represents the inner journey of our own psyche, our own our life path up until now, the things that we're processing, that, family has the lineage, the ancestry, all of, whether it's genetics or psychological lineage, all of that comes through. This hasn't been in this placement for you for 30 years, because that's just the pattern of Saturn, 29, 30 years. So that's the last time you did some deep digging in the regard of what I'm looking at. So, psychological patterns were very different from 30 years ago to now, right? I mean, life is definitely different after 30 years of living.
Right.
And so what you're looking at is a little deeper, So it's the heritage that you get, and the psychological heritage and the psychological patterns that you're working through and on. And it's not a sadness place, because you're a very upbeat person and you're a very proactive person. So we can see this as something, it's just like, taking a class, learning to do something you've never learned, helps shift and move your energy, the energy flow, whether it's your chakras or ancestry. What do they call that? Past life regressions, things like that are tools you can use, if you haven't used them yet, to start to move through any of the, we're never done. So any of the healing, the psychological stuff that we all have to deal with, we're never done.
Yeah.
So we're done.
And this year too, also, it's going to bring in friends from the past, new friends. I mean, it's going to be very active with socializing. And I think that's where the ideas and all the goodness is going to come forward, because you're an extrovert. You're an extrovert and you're not. You have both sides to you. The 11-2 and the 7 likes to be alone, but the 11-2 also likes to be with the crowds and the people. So, but I think this year will bring, the ideas will come forward. It's very creative year, very creative.
Okay.
Yeah. Adriana.
Okay. So I want to be clear in that these cards that I have pulled have absolutely zero to do with what I have gained from looking at your chart. Not that they have nothing to do with them. I didn't intentionally pull the cards to line up with anything. I'm pulling them as we're talking. So I did pull another card. I will speak on it when I finish this part. But for the cards that we've pulled, and you actually said it. And I was like, yes, I feel that. Looking at your chart, I feel you have a very strong sense of yourself. You're very aware, and I feel that you do project yourself in a confident manner to other people, or capable. Like, people know that you're a capable and dependable kind of person. Um, but at the same time, I felt an emotional block, and I could not figure out what it was about, where it was concerning. So it just let me know that, or it made me feel that you may at times busy your mind with all of the work and the projects and the tasks that you take on. Um, so you're not really getting to where that block or what that block is. You feel it, but it's not that big of a deal. Like, I'm moving on in my life, I'm doing things, so but it's still sitting there. Um, so a couple of things were interesting that you said, little numerological synchronicities. So I am like, dang, she has this 8 heart's desire and this 8 personality number. You mentioned you have 8 grandkids.
Right.
Your sense of producing makes you proud. And that can even go into your work. But just like how you're like, I love my grandkids, but my whole life isn't about them. I love that they're here. I love that I get to nurture and be a part of their life, but I still have things to do. Like, let's not forget about that. You're still a busy person. um, so that was interesting. Okay, 8 grandkids. Cool. Then you said you started to really notice this emotional block within the last 2 years. 2 years ago, you were in a 9 personal year, which something was ending, or something needed to be let go of, something needed to be dropped. And looking at your chart and talking to you, it almost feels that that something wasn't let go of. It feels like it wasn't even intended to, because of all the other things that you enjoy and that you do. So it's kind of like it's knocking at your door now, and it's not really eating at you. It's still kind of like, I'm still doing things, but it's knocking at your door. Like, pay attention to me. So while I agree with everything that both Dorothy and Sue, also Laura, I agree with everything that everyone said as far as next year, there is some newness coming for you. I do see a lot of friendship and relationships, but I also see, or I feel maybe some of that softness has to deal with some of those relationships. And I don't know on what level. It could be just, I've accepted these people in my life. I've done so much, but now I'm recognizing I haven't received much on my end. So, where's really the value in that? Or, oh, they did this to me 25 years ago, or they said this and it really hurt me, and we never addressed it. I just moved on because I'm the bigger person. And because that's your life path. Your life path is to be not pleasing to others, but you want to make things as easy as possible, while also being you're very driven, very intuitive, very creative. So you can kind of butt heads with people at times, but I don't think you like that butting heads. I think you're more like, how can we find a way to resolve this? And that may require you to be like, well, a conversation's not needed here. I know we're not going to get anywhere. So I'm just going to put my big girl pants on and just say, I can talk to you. Like, there's no problems here. So that, I would say, to pay attention to the feelings and the tension that you feel on the inside. Because I saw that in your chart, an emotional block somewhere, but I couldn't pick up on what it was. Another interesting thing I saw in your chart was your first 4 soul changing years. So these are just years basically where the energy is kind of cranked up. You're in a personal year of this number, and you're also moving in time with this number. So your first 4 personal years were numbers 1, 8, 4, and 7. So 1 and 8, both are about the self. 1 is like the beginning journey. I recognize I'm a person. 8 is like I'm this person who's capable and I'm going to achieve and I'm going to do. Like you're very much so aware of who you are. So those were your first 2 personal years. Your next personal year was a 4, which lets me know, or soul changing year. That's all about work and foundation and, building things from the ground up and really just digging deep, getting organized. And then your next personal year or soul changing year was a 7, which is about thinking. Those first 4 soul changing years happened within the first 32, 33 years of your life.
Okay.
That lets me know that period was a time for you to understand who you are, which I think was good for you, because a lot of times people with a life path of 2 or an 11-2 don't really think about themselves. But you had these experiences in life where you were kind of forced to or projected in a way where you had to think about yourself as well as other people. Where you achieve that's what brings you joy, when you're able to achieve and do good for other people. But you have to think of yourself. It also lets me know that you're very analytical, you think a lot, but you move also. You're not a slow thinker. You think on the go. I will figure it out. I trust that my intuition is correct. I have the right people around me, but you trust that your feet are grounded, and no matter what direction it takes you, you've thought enough to get you to that next step and to get you to that next step. Um, so those were just my thoughts on your chart.
Okay.
Now, in regards to the cards that I have already pulled, and this last part that I'm going to read, it's definitely what I see as far as, or what I feel as far as like, what should you focus on for like your next meaningful project. I know in looking at your chart and in talking to you, creating a meaningful life is what's meaningful to you. So when Dorothy was asking the question, what are your passions? I was ready to hear you say, like, I can't really pinpoint one, because I feel that you're a person that's like, if it adds meaning to my life, I love it and I'll go for it. If I see I can benefit someone else here and it makes me feel good, I'll go for it. And I think for you, the big thing is just achieving, doing, actually committing to a goal and seeing it through, seeing that full vision through. It's not necessarily gardening but I would agree with the horseback riding thing. If things are eating at you, then yeah, maybe pay attention to those and kind of dig into those. But this last card is Vervain. I'm going to show it to you and then read it. Oops. Okay. So the header says, let magic in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's for Vervain. So Vervain whispers of enchantment in worlds not quite seen. She'll teach you to see beyond the ordinary and help you explore the liminal lands of the psyche. Through her easy access to the in-between, she can call in the medicine of plants not present, making her a must for any healer's garden. Ask Vervain to channel her sisters and hold their place in a tea blend or incense. But remember, even though she is wispy, Vervain is powerful. A sip of her tea is magical, a cup nauseating. Why? Because too much mystery puts us off balance. Think of it as motion sickness of the soul. So let Vervain dance lightly on the edges of your consciousness, reminding you of the infinite possibilities that unfold when you let magic in. And even in the card, if you look at it, there's that you see how the branch kind of crosses over in this liminal state between day and nighttime.
Yes.
And that's the Vervain branch crossing through. So it's asking for you to be aware of that in between space, in between a project, in between a thought process, or whatever. that in between space, there's still meaning in there, and there's still insight and inspiration that can be gained. So out of all the cards that I've pulled, they've all said at the core, slow down, tap into your mind, pay attention to the quiet voices, and tend to that. And that would be my advice for what you should focus on next. To add that, I would say your mental, your soul's voice, that would be your next project, at least over the next 6 months, to really focus in on her and hear what she's saying and tend to those parts of yourself.
Thank you. That was good, Adrienne.
Sorry, that was a long one.
That was excellent. Very good.
Well,
Do you
thank
have anything for Adriana Joyce?
No, that was a lot for me to think about, and I will definitely reflect, because I think there's some good wisdom there that I could attend to. So yeah, so thank you. The things you're talking about slowing down and listening and just, being aware, like, as I said, I'm good at doing that to a point, and then I'm like, woof, okay, let's move it along.
On to the next.
There's enough of that. So
I love it.
So I think it would be important to dig a little deeper there. So thank you.
Lorelei, do you have any last words you'd like to bring in?
The only thing I would suggest, which I think it's kind of come up again, is enjoy the journey, every step of it.
Okay.
I think there's some depth that you're going to touch that you'll really enjoy.
Okay.
Well, you should put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Enjoy the journey, every step of it.
Yeah. Dorothy, do you have anything you'd like to add?
No. That was
set?
amazing.
It was
no, I'm
amazing.
good. Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, it just it just confirms what I see with Saturn at the bottom of the chart. It's like, work on that, that inner stuff, whatever that is. I focused on it being, family lineage and processes like that, but whatever it is, it's definitely about the psychological path and pattern that we're going through. But again, don't forget to focus on your own health, physical health and wellness too, because that's being highlighted as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I see that too.
So yeah, I did have something.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Joyce, would you like to say anything while we conclude our hour?
Well, I really just want to thank you all again. It's just such a beautiful thing that you do, and you have definitely given me a lot here to reflect on, and and really a lot of thoughts that I believe will really sort of move me forward. So so I'm just really sending you a lot of appreciation and thankfulness, and so I did take notes, but I know I can listen again, I believe. I think
yes. I'll make sure you get the recording.
I feel there's a lot here I'll have to go back to.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay,
so really, thank you so much. Really.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Yeah. So I want to thank everybody for coming. Again, if you're interested in having a reading by any of us, all the information is in the description below on my YouTube channel, or you can email me and I'll make sure you get the information.
Perfect.
Our next group is on December 16th, and we're going to be speaking with Anne. At this time, I haven't received her form back, so I don't know what her questions are yet, but she's from Maine. She's another Mainer.
Yes.
Yes. These are all Joy's Joe's friends. Remember Joe? We did it. Yeah. Everybody's joining in. So that's wonderful. We appreciate it. So again, I want, let us all be in the light for those who feel like they're in the dark. Stay grounded and do something really kind for somebody. And everybody have a nice couple weeks. Stay warm.
Blessings,
Bake some
everybody.
cookies.
Thank you all so much. All right.
Thank
I
you.
know Anne, so I'm going to try and tune in on the 16th.
Nice. Good.
Observe.
Wonderful. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.